The soft green glow of Spotify, a quiet startup sleep story. Quiet arrival. Welcome. The rain has been falling for a while now. A steady, light rain that touches the window in soft, unhurried taps, and the bedside lamp holds a low amber glow over the small desk in the corner of the room. You are here. You have been here for some time, actually sitting in the chair with a pillow tucked behind your lower back, and the night has that particular quality it gets when the day has already been put away and there is nothing left to do but be still. The desk is ordinary. A water glass, half full, catches a tiny curve of lamplight along its rim. A laptop sits closed, its surface cool and dark. A pair of headphones rests beside it, folded neatly, the ear cushions soft and slightly worn from use. These are familiar things, your things, arranged in the way they always are at this hour. And there is a comfort in that, a kind of quiet that comes not from silence, but from the ordinary repetition of the same small scene. Night after night, the grain of the wood on the desk is visible beneath the amber glow. A pattern of fine lines, pale and dark, running in gentle curves from one edge to the other, and your eye can follow those lines without trying to, the way your eye follows the current of a stream, not because it is going anywhere meaningful, but because the motion is soft and the path is easy. Outside, the rain meets the windowsill and gathers there in a thin, quiet line before sliding down the glass in slow, wandering trails. You do not need to watch it. You do not need to follow the path of any particular drop. But if your mind reaches for something to rest on, the rain is there, steady and simple, a companion that asks for nothing and fills the room with the softest possible version of sound. A sound so gentle it could be mistaken for the room itself breathing. You can let your jaw loosen, just slightly. Not all the way. Just enough that your teeth are no longer touching, and the muscles along the hinge of your jaw begin to soften. And the tension there, which you may not have noticed until just now, starts to ease. The rain continues outside the window. It does not change. It does not build toward anything. It is simply rain doing what rain does on a cool evening, finding the glass, sliding down, tapping, once, then again, then again. This is a story about a quiet thing that happened slowly over many years in a country where the winters are long and the evenings come early. It is a story about music, in a way, but not about any particular song, and not about anything dramatic or loud. It is really a story about playlists and streaming and the small, steady hum of computers doing their work in ordinary rooms. The company at the center of it is called Spotify. And if you have heard of it, you already know that it is a place where people listen to music through the internet, song after song, the way water moves through a quiet pipe. This is a fan-made, unofficial sleep story. All trademarks belong to their owners. This is not business or financial advice. Just a quiet story to help you rest. And now the radiator in the corner of your room gives off its faint tick, a small metallic settling sound, and the warmth from it reaches you in slow, invisible waves. You can feel the cool air from the crack in the window meeting the warmth from the blankets pooled at the foot of your bed, and the two temperatures find each other somewhere around your ankles, mixing gently, and you do not need to decide which one is more pleasant. They are both fine. Everything is fine. Your shoulders can lower now, just a fraction of an inch, dropping away from your ears. And you may notice that you had been holding them slightly raised without realizing it. Let them settle. Let the weight of your arms draw them down, and feel the heaviness begin in your hands, in your fingers, resting in your lap or at your sides, wherever they have come to rest. In the early 2000s, in Sweden, the evenings were long in winter, and the light faded from the sky by the middle of the afternoon. In Stockholm, in small apartments, not so different from this room, a few people sat at desks with laptops and thought about music. Not about performing it or recording it, but about the way it traveled from one place to another. At that time, most people who wanted to listen to a song on a computer had to find the file, download it, wait for it, save it somewhere on a hard drive. It was a slow, slightly clumsy process, like carrying water in your hands. You would wait for the file to arrive, watching a small progress bar inch its way across the screen. And the waiting was quiet, but not quite restful, because you were waiting for something and the something had not yet come, and a small group of people, very quietly, began to wonder whether there might be a simpler way, a way to let the music just flow the way a stream flows, continuously, without needing to hold on to anything. The rain touches the window again, and your temples can soften now. There is a small muscle just above each ear, at the side of your forehead, that tends to hold tension without announcing it. You can let it go. Imagine the skin there smoothing, the way the surface of a pond goes still after the smallest ripple passes. Your forehead is wide and calm. Your eyes, if they are closed, can feel heavy behind the lids, and that heaviness is a good thing, a welcome thing, like a blanket drawn slowly over a window to keep the light out. The idea was not dramatic. It was, in fact, a very quiet idea. Instead of downloading a file and keeping it on your own machine, you would simply ask for it, and it would arrive, streaming through the connection, note by note, playing as it came, and when it was finished, you would not need to store it, or organize it, or worry about where it had gone. It would just be there whenever you wanted it again. That was the whole thought. A small thought, simple and calm, like deciding to leave a window open a crack to let the night air in. And the night air is here now, cool and faintly damp, carrying the smell of rain on pavement, a mineral scent, clean and plain. The shush of the rain has not changed. It continues its rhythm, and the radiator offers its tick, and your body is a little heavier in the chair than it was a few minutes ago. Your fingers may have curled slightly inward, the way fingers do when they are no longer needed for anything. When there is no screen to tap, no key to press, no page to turn. Let them be soft. They have done enough today. The people working on this idea did not rush. There was no reason to rush. They sat in small rooms in the long Scandinavian dark, and they wrote lines of code on their computers, and they tested small things, and they waited for small things to work. Sometimes a song would play, streaming through the software for the first time, and it would sound a little rough, a little halting, like a sentence spoken by someone who is just learning the words. And they would adjust something, some tiny parameter, some setting deep inside the program, and they would try again. The work was patient. It was repetitive. It had the quality of sorting through a very large, very gentle drawer of papers, one page at a time, looking for nothing in particular, just putting things in order. You can take a breath now, if you like. Not a deep, dramatic breath, just a slow one. Let the air come in through your nose and feel it cool against the inside of your nostrils. And let it fill your chest just enough, and then let it go softly through your mouth or your nose, whichever feels easier. The exhale is the part that matters. The exhale is where the letting go lives. And as you breathe out, you can feel your jaw soften a little more, and your hands grow a little heavier, and the sound of the rain becomes a little more present, as though you are listening to it with your whole body now, not just your ears. The small group in Stockholm did not call what they were building by any grand name. They called it simply a project, and the project lived on their laptops and in their conversations over cups of coffee, and in the quiet hours between dinner and sleep, when the mind is loose and the thoughts come slowly and without sharp edges. They shared files. They sent each other short messages about small things. They made lists of what needed to be done, and the lists were never long, and the items on them were never complicated, and the doing of them was steady and calm, like the work of someone who is building a shelf one plank at a time, measuring twice, cutting once, sanding the edges smooth. The laptop on your desk is closed. The headphones are folded. The water glass holds its small portion of light. The room is exactly as it was. And the story will be here, gentle and slow, whenever you are ready for the next piece of it. There is no hurry. The rain keeps its patient rhythm, and the night is long. And everything that happened with this quiet company in Sweden happened slowly, over many ordinary evenings, just like this one, in rooms with lamps and desks and the sound of rain or wind or nothing at all, in the quiet spaces between one day and the next, where the mind slows down and the body finds its way to rest. The amber glow of the lamp does not flicker. It holds its warmth the way a cupped hand holds a small, living thing carefully, without squeezing. Your face is soft. Your shoulders are low, your fingers are still, and the swoosh of rain against the window and the faint tick of the radiator continue, steady and unchanged, and you can almost feel how the next small chapter begins to form. The desk at night, the rain is still here, touching the window in its unhurried way, and the low amber glow of the bedside lamp has not moved. It falls across the desk in the same soft pool it always does at this hour, warming the edges of the closed laptop, the folded headphones, the water glass, with its quiet curve of captured light. You are still in the chair. The pillow is still behind your lower back, and the night has settled a little deeper around the room, the way evenings do when they are no longer new, when the last traces of the day have been gently filed away and there is nothing ahead but rest. Your hands are where you left them, resting in your lap or at your sides, and they are a little heavier now than they were before. You can notice that heaviness without doing anything about it. It is a pleasant weight, the kind that comes when the body begins to understand that nothing more is being asked of it. Your fingers are soft, slightly curled, and if you bring your attention to them, you may feel a faint warmth in your palms, a warmth that has been there all along, quiet and patient, like a small lamp left on in an empty room. The headphones on the desk have that particular stillness of objects at rest. The ear cushions, slightly compressed from years of gentle use, hold the faintest impression of where they have been all the evenings they have sat just like this, folded and waiting. The cable trails from them in a loose curve across the wood, and you could, if you wanted, reach over and straighten it. You could take the cable between your thumb and forefinger and lay it in a neat line from the headphones to the edge of the desk. A small, meaningless task, the kind of thing a person does without thinking in the quiet minutes before sleep. And maybe you do. In your mind, reach over and guide that cable into place. The motion is slow. Your fingers move with a heaviness that belongs to this hour. And the cable is smooth and cool to the touch. And when it is done, the desk looks just slightly more orderly. And that is enough. That is all it needed to be. Somewhere far from this room, in a different time, in those early quiet years in Sweden, people were doing tasks not so different from this. Straightening small things, organizing. They were building playlists, which is really just a way of putting songs in a row, one after another, the way you might arrange books on a shelf, or fold clothes into a drawer. A playlist is a list. That is all it is. A gentle sequence of names, each one a song, lined up in an order that someone chose because it felt right, because one song seemed to follow naturally from the one before, the way one breath follows another, without effort, Without decision, the radiator gives its faint tick, and the cool air from the window crack finds the skin of your wrist. A small, passing coolness, and then the warmth of the room takes it back. You can let your jaw soften again. It has a way of gathering tension without telling you, tightening along the hinge, just slightly, the way a drawer can stick without being fully closed. Let it open just a little. Let the space between your teeth widen, and feel the muscles along the side of your face ease. And notice how that easing travels down into your neck, into the tops of your shoulders, like water finding its way down a gentle slope. If you were to open the laptop right now, which you do not need to do, which you are not going to do, you might imagine the screen glowing to life with a soft, greenish light. And on that screen there might be a list. Just a list. Names of songs arranged in a quiet column. Each one a small rectangle of text, and beside each name a tiny number showing how long the song lasts. 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 2 minutes and 40 seconds. These are small, ordinary numbers, and they ask nothing of you. You could imagine a cursor blinking at the top of the list, patient, unhurried, pulsing in a rhythm not so different from your own heartbeat. Blink, pause, blink, pause. It is waiting, but it is not waiting for anything in particular. It is simply doing what cursors do, which is to be still and steady and present. The shush of the rain has not changed. It is the same sound it was a few minutes ago. The same soft, continuous arrival of water against glass. And there is something in that sameness that is deeply restful. Your body knows the sound now. It has been listening for long enough that the rain has become part of the room, part of the quiet architecture of this evening. As steady and unremarkable as the walls or the floor or the warmth of the blankets pooled at the foot of the bed. You could imagine scrolling down that list, slowly, the way a person scrolls when they are not looking for anything, when they are just letting their eyes move over the names, the way a hand moves over a smooth surface, feeling, without searching. Each song title is a small, self-contained thing, a handful of words, and you do not need to know any of them. They pass beneath your attention the way clouds pass across a sky that no one is watching. And the scrolling is gentle, a slow drift downward, and the list seems long, longer than you would ever need, and that is part of what makes it restful. The knowledge that there is always more, that you will never reach the end, that you can stop at any point and the list will still be there, patient and unchanged, whenever you come back. And if you were to stop scrolling, the screen would simply rest, holding the last few names in place. And the cursor would continue its gentle blink at the top of the page. And the soft green of the background would glow faintly, a color that is neither bright nor dim, but somewhere in between. The color of moss in shade, or of a quiet light left on in a hallway overnight. And the screen would not ask you to do anything, would not flash or change or call for your attention, would simply be still, the way the desk is still, the way the water glass is still, the way your hands are still in your lap, resting in the amber glow of a lamp that has been burning at this same low, steady level for as long as you can remember. The company that made this possible did so quietly. There were no grand announcements in those early days. A small group of people in Stockholm wrote code and tested it and wrote more code. And they did this in rooms with lamps and desks and mugs of cooling tea, in the long dark of the Scandinavian winter. And the work had a rhythm to it, a gentle back and forth, like the tick of your radiator or the tap of rain on glass. They were building something, but the building felt more like tending. The way a person tends a small garden, checking on things, adjusting things, being patient with things that grow slowly. The blankets at the foot of your bed hold their warmth in a loose fold. And you can feel that warmth from here. A faint thermal presence that does not reach you yet, but promises that it will. Whenever you are ready. The air in the room has the quality of air that has been still for a long time. Neither warm nor cool, but simply present, holding the faint scent of the lamp's warmth and the clean, mineral trace of rain that comes through the window crack. Your fingers are heavy in your lap, and you can feel the pulse in your fingertips. A faint, slow rhythm, barely there, a private signal that the body is at ease, that the heart is doing its unhurried work, and that everything inside you is moving at the pace it was always meant to move when there is nothing to rush toward. And now you can feel the weight of your own body in the chair, the way your hips press into the seat, the way your spine rests against the pillow. And the heaviness is a good heaviness, a kind heaviness, the kind that comes when you have been sitting still long enough for gravity to become friendly. Your temples are smooth, your forehead is wide and open. If there were a small crease of thought between your eyebrows, you can let it dissolve now. The way a line drawn in sand disappears when the wind passes over it. Softly, without effort, you might imagine reaching over to the laptop and resting your fingertips on its surface. The metal is cool, faintly smooth, and you could wipe the trackpad with the pad of your thumb, a small circular motion clearing away the ghost of the day's last touch. It is a tiny thing, meaningless, the kind of gesture a person makes in the borderlands between waking and rest, tidying without purpose, caring for an object simply because it is near, and then your hand returns to your lap, and the laptop is still closed, and the desk is still quiet, and the headphones are still folded, and nothing has changed except that the night is a few minutes older and your body is a few degrees more still. You could also imagine nudging the shade of the lamp, just barely, tilting it a fraction so that the pool of amber light shifts on the desk, moving from the center of the laptop toward the water glass. And the glass responds by catching a new sliver of gold along its curve. A tiny change, a rearrangement so small it would be invisible to anyone not sitting right here, right now, in this particular chair, at this particular hour. And the act of nudging the shade is itself restful, a gesture that belongs entirely to the quiet, to the unhurried minutes when the hands move, not because they must, but because the body enjoys the simple sensation of doing one small, gentle thing. The amber glow of the lamp catches the rim of the water glass. You could take a sip if you wanted. A small, cool swallow, but you do not need to. The glass is there for later, or for not at all. It is simply present, the way so many things in this room are present without needing to be used, without needing to justify themselves existing in the quiet way that objects exist when they are watched by a lamplight and touched by the sound of rain. Your shoulders are low. Your fingers are soft. The blankets at the foot of the bed hold their warmth, waiting for whenever you are ready to draw them up. The shush of the rain continues, and the radiator continues its faint metallic settling, and the room holds you the way it always does at this hour. Gently, without asking anything. And while your breathing stays calm, the night makes room for the next simple turning point. Seeds of a quiet idea. The faint tick of the radiator marks another small moment, and the low amber glow of the lamp is still resting across the desk, holding the water glass and the closed laptop and the folded headphones in its quiet circle of warmth. You are still here, in the same room, in the same chair, and the pillow behind your lower back has shaped itself to you now, fitting the curve of your spine the way familiar things do when they have been close to a body long enough to learn its contours. Your breathing has found its own pace. You did not have to set it. It found the rhythm on its own, the way a leaf finds its way down a stream, not choosing a path, just following the water. And now you can bring your attention down from your face and your shoulders, which are already soft and low, and let it settle into your chest. The chest is a wide, quiet place. It rises gently with each inhale, and it falls gently with each exhale, and in between there is a small, still moment, a pause that belongs to no one. A pause that is simply the body being patient with itself. You can feel the fabric of your shirt or your sweater resting against your ribs, the light pressure of it, the warmth it holds. And you can let your chest be easy. Let the muscles between your ribs soften. Let the breath do whatever it wants to do without guiding it, without counting it, without making it into anything more than it already is. In Sweden, in those early years, the idea that would become Spotify began in the most ordinary way imaginable. It began with folders. Not folders in the sense of business plans or investor documents, but simple digital folders on a computer screen. The kind anyone might have. The kind that hold files the way a drawer holds socks, without ceremony, without order. Just one thing placed beside another, because that is where it happened to land. And in these folders there were music files, many of them, small rectangular icons with names that were sometimes accurate and sometimes not, Songs labeled with the wrong artist or the wrong album or no information at all, just a string of numbers and letters that meant nothing to anyone except the computer that held them. The rain outside your window continues, softer now perhaps, or perhaps the same. It is hard to tell, and it does not matter. The sound is a shush, a continuous, gentle exhalation, as if the sky itself is breathing out, slowly, the way you are breathing out. And the cool air from the crack in the window carries with it the faintest scent of wet stone, of damp earth, of the particular cleanness that rain brings to a city at night. Your belly rises and falls. You can feel it now, the gentle motion of it, the way your abdomen expands as the air comes in and settles as the air goes out. And there is a softness there, a yielding, as if the muscles of your belly are remembering that they do not need to hold anything up right now, that there is no posture to maintain, no core to engage, just the simple animal rhythm of a body at rest. A small group of people working from apartments and borrowed office spaces in Stockholm began to sort through these folders. They were not in a hurry. The work was the kind that could be done late at night, with a mug of something warm nearby, with the glow of a screen and the sound of a keyboard and nothing else. They would open a folder, look at the files inside, and begin the slow process of naming things correctly. This song belongs to this artist. This track is from this album. This file is a duplicate. This one is missing its title. It was the kind of work that requires patience rather than brilliance. The careful, repetitive attention of someone who is content to do the same small task again and again. The way a person folds laundry, or sorts buttons, or arranges stones in a garden path. Your lower back can soften now. There is a place just above your hips, on either side of your spine, where the muscles tend to hold the memory of the day, the sitting and the standing and the walking and the carrying, all of it stored there in a quiet knot that you may not notice until you are still enough to feel it. The pillow behind you is helping. It presses gently against that space, offering warmth, offering support, and you can lean into it, just slightly letting more of your weight rest against the back of the chair, letting your spine lengthen and settle into its natural curve. The way a river settles into the bed it is carved for itself over many quiet years. Sometimes, in those evenings in Stockholm, a song would play. Someone on the small team would click on a file to check whether it was labeled correctly, and the music would come through the computer speakers, tinny and quiet, filling the room for 3 or 4 minutes before stopping. And the person listening would nod, or make a small note, or simply move on to the next file and do the same thing again. Open, listen, name, save, close, open the next one. It was a loop, a gentle, circular kind of work, and the loop had its own comfort. The way any repeated motion becomes comforting after long enough, the way the shoosh of rain against a window becomes not just a sound, but a kind of companionship, a presence that asks for nothing and offers everything. The tick of the radiator, the coolness at your wrist, the warmth of the blankets which you have not yet drawn up, but which are there, patient, folded at the foot of the bed, holding their warmth, the way a sleeping animal holds its heat, quietly, without effort. You can feel your hips in the chair now, the broad, steady weight of them, the way they press into the seat and find their balance. And there is something deeply restful about the hips, about the way they are designed to carry and support and hold, and about the way they can, when given permission, simply stop carrying and let themselves be held instead. The chair holds you, the pillow holds your back, the room holds the lamplight, and the lamplight holds the small, quiet shapes of the things on your desk. And none of these things need you to do anything at all. The team in Stockholm was building a small piece of software, a desktop application, which is a program that lives on your computer the way a book lives on a shelf. Always there, always the same shape, waiting to be opened. They wanted this program to do one simple thing. They wanted it to play music, but not from files stored on the computer. They wanted it to play music that arrived from somewhere else, streaming through the internet connection, the way water streams through a pipe, arriving continuously, note after note, measure after measure, without the listener needing to wait or download or save anything. The idea was simple, almost sleepily so, and the work of making it real was the slow, patient kind of work that looks from the outside like nothing is happening at all. And sometimes a handwritten note would appear beside the keyboard. A scrap of paper, small and slightly creased, with a few words on it in pencil. The words might be a reminder about a file that needed renaming, or a question about whether a certain song had been sorted into the right folder, or simply a number, a count of how many tracks had been checked that evening, written down, not because anyone needed to know, but because the act of writing it was a way of marking the passage of quiet time, a way of saying, this is what I did tonight, this is what the hours held, and it was enough. The cool air from the window crack moves past you in a slow, invisible current, and you can feel it on the backs of your hands. A touch so light it is barely there. And then the warmth of the room returns, patient and steady, and your hands are still, and your fingers are curled, and the weight of them in your lap is the weight of things that have finished their work for the day. Your belly rises and falls. The motion is slower now, more gradual, the way a wave flattens as it moves into shallower water, not stopping but spreading, becoming wider and gentler and more quiet with each passing moment. And the pillow behind your lower back holds its shape, and the chair holds your weight, and the room holds the amber light, and you are part of all of it now, part of the stillness, part of the warmth, part of the gentle, unbroken quiet that has settled over everything like a thin layer of snow on a windless night. The shoosh of the rain is still here. Your chest rises. Your belly softens. Your spine rests against the pillow, and the low amber glow of the lamp holds its circle on the desk. And you can feel a heaviness now in the very center of your body, a warm, still heaviness, as if your torso is slowly filling with something gentle and dense, like sand poured very slowly into a soft container. This heaviness is not uncomfortable. It is the heaviness of settling, of arriving, of coming to rest in a place that has been waiting for you, and you can let it spread slowly through your chest and your belly and your lower back, and you can let it hold you the way the chair holds you, firmly and without hurry. The air in the room has not changed. It holds the same faint warmth from the radiator, the same cool thread from the window crack, and it moves around you in slow, invisible currents that you can feel on your skin, if you are still enough, on the fine hairs of your forearms, on the back of your neck, a touch so light it is almost imaginary, and yet it is there, the room breathing with you, the room settling with you, the room growing quieter as the night deepens, and the rain outside finds its slowest, most patient rhythm. They named things. That was so much of the early work. Naming a playlist. Choosing what to call a particular collection of songs. Free listening, someone might have typed. Or simply test playlist 1. And then saving it. And closing the file and opening another and naming that one too. These were small, quiet decisions, the kind that leave no trace in the world, the kind that are forgotten as soon as they are made. And yet each one was a tiny step in a long, unhurried walk towards something that would eventually become familiar to a great many people. But that was later, much later, and it does not matter right now. What matters right now is the sound of the rain and the warmth of the lamp and the feeling of your body growing heavier and more still in this chair, in this room, on this ordinary, gentle night. Your breathing continues, in and out, in and out, the rise and the fall, the small pause between, and the desk is quiet, and the headphones are folded, and the water glass holds its still, clear weight, and everything in this room is exactly where it belongs. In the steady, low amber glow, it becomes easy to drift toward what happens next, one gentle step at a time. Small tests, small wins. The shush of the rain against the window has grown a touch softer. Or perhaps you have simply grown more accustomed to it, the way the ear adjusts to any steady sound, accepting it, folding it into the room until it becomes not something you hear, but something you rest inside of. The low amber glow of the lamp is unchanged, and the closed laptop on the desk holds its cool, quiet surface, and you are still here, settled deeper into the chair than you were before, the pillow fitted now to the particular curve of your back as though it has memorized you. Your chest rises and falls in its own time. You do not need to guide it. The breath comes in and the ribs expand just slightly, and then the breath goes out and the ribs settle. And there is a small, soft space between the two where nothing at all is happening, and that space is restful. A tiny room inside the breath where the body simply waits. Your belly is easy. The muscles there have remembered that there is nothing to brace against, no effort coming, no task requiring them to tighten, and so they rest, rising and falling like a calm surface of water that has been still for a very long time. In Stockholm, in those quiet winter evenings, the small team had begun to test what they had built. Testing is a gentle word. It means trying something, watching what happens, and then trying it again. The first version of the software was simple. Just a window on a computer screen with a list of songs and a button. The button was meant to play a song, and when someone pressed it for the first time, there was a pause. A small pause. The kind of pause that happens when a machine is thinking, gathering itself, reaching out through the internet connection to find the music and bring it back. And then, after a moment, the song began. The radiator ticks. The cool air from the window crack touches the back of your hand. A passing coolness, light as a breath, and then the warmth of the room takes it back. You can feel the weight of your hips pressing into the seat of the chair. The broad, grounded weight of the lower body. And there is something deeply calming about that contact. The feeling of being held up by something solid, something that is not going to move or shift or ask you to adjust. Your lower back rests against the pillow, and the pillow rests against the chair, and the chair rests on the floor, and the floor rests on the earth. And all of this holding is happening without effort, without thought. A long chain of support that begins somewhere beneath you and ends with the feeling of your own body being gently, steadily carried. The song, when it played for the first time through that early software, was not perfect. It arrived with a slight roughness, a tiny stutter where the streaming paused to gather more data, like a sentence spoken by someone who needs to take a breath in the middle of a word. And the person listening would make a note, a small note, written by hand, or typed in a plain text file, buffering at 12 seconds, or slight gap between tracks. These were not problems in any urgent sense. They were simply observations, the kind a gardener might make about a row of seedlings. This one is a little slow. This one needs more light. Each one noted with patience and without alarm, because there was always time to try again. And trying again was most of the work. Someone would adjust a setting in the code, a small parameter that controlled how much music the software tried to load in advance. And then they would press the button again. The same button, the same song, and this time the pause would be a little shorter, or the stutter would happen a few seconds later, or perhaps it would not happen at all, and the song would play smoothly from beginning to end, each note arriving exactly when it was meant to. The way rain arrives at a window, continuously, without gaps, without effort. You can let your spine lengthen now, not by stretching or straightening, but by simply allowing it to settle more fully into its natural shape, the long, gentle curve that runs from the base of your skull to the place where your hips meet the seat. There are spaces between the bones of the spine, small cushions of cartilage. And when the body is truly at rest, these spaces can open just slightly, the way petals open when there is warmth. And the whole spine can feel a little longer, a little more at ease, a little more like a string of beads laid out on a soft surface, each one touching the next, but none of them holding on too tightly. The amber light from the lamp falls across your lap, and the warmth of it is so faint you can barely feel it. But it is there, a gentle presence, the way the memory of a kind word is a presence, even when the room is quiet. Sometimes the page would need to refresh. The software had a simple interface, a list of songs, and a few small controls. And when something was changed in the code, the whole page would need to reload, and the team would wait. It was a brief wait, a few seconds, the kind of wait that is so ordinary it barely registers as waiting at all, more like the pause between one breath and the next. And then the page would appear again, looking almost the same as before, perhaps with one small difference. A button moved slightly to the left, or a font made a little smaller, or a color shifted from one shade of green to another. Changes so subtle that a person who was not looking for them might never notice them at all. The rain at the window, the tick of the radiator, the cool air mixing with the warm air somewhere near the foot of the bed where the blankets are pooled, holding their quiet heat. Your belly rises and falls. Your chest is open and soft. Your hips are heavy and still, and there is a warmth in the center of your body now. A gentle, spreading warmth that has nothing to do with the lamp or the radiator or the blankets. A warmth that comes from inside, from the simple act of being still for long enough that the body begins to generate its own comfort, its own slow, steady heat, the way a sleeping animal warms the nest it rests in. Someone on the team would retype a single line of code, carefully, letter by letter, making sure each character was exactly right. Because in code, a single misplaced letter can change everything. The way a single misplaced stitch can change the direction of a scene. and they would save the file, and they would test again, pressing the same button, listening to the same song, and this time the playback would be a little steadier, a little smoother. The transition from silence to sound a little more like the transition from one room to another. Seamless, unremarkable. The kind of thing you only notice when it does not work, and never notice when it does. And sometimes they would check a setting twice. Not because they were worried, but because checking is a habit of careful people. The way a person checks that the front door is locked, not because they believe it is unlocked, but because the act of checking is itself a small comfort, a way of confirming that the world is as it should be. They would open the settings panel, look at the numbers, nod, close it, and then open it again a moment later, just to be sure, and the numbers would be the same, and the confirmation would bring a tiny, quiet satisfaction, the kind that does not show on the face but settles somewhere in the chest. A small warmth, a small rightness. And in between the testing, there were moments of waiting. The code would be compiling, or the software would be restarting, and the person at the desk would have nothing to do for 30 seconds, or a minute, or 2 minutes. And in that gap, they would simply sit, and the room would be quiet, and the screen would show its progress, and the waiting was not empty, but full of the same kind of stillness that fills this room right now. The stillness of something that is in the process of becoming not yet finished, but not in a hurry, moving at its own pace, arriving when it arrives. There were evenings when the testing went on for hours. The same song playing again and again. Each repetition slightly different from the last. The way a river sounds slightly different each time you return to its bank, even though the water itself has not changed its nature. The person testing would sit in the glow of the screen, the headphones resting against one ear or both, and the music would fill the small space between the ear cushions and the skin. A private, contained world of sound. And each time the song played a little more smoothly, the person might shift in their chair, just slightly, the way a body shifts when something small has gone right. A settling and easing, barely noticeable to anyone watching, but felt from the inside as a kind of quiet relief. The water glass on your desk catches the amber light along its rim. The headphones are folded, the ear cushions resting against each other like two palms pressed gently together. The laptop is closed, and its surface reflects a dim version of the lamp, a small smudge of gold on dark metal. And you can let your eyes be heavy if they are not already closed. And you can let the details of the room blur at the edges, the way a photograph blurs when it is taken through a window streaked with rain. The details are still there. They have not gone anywhere, but they have become softer, less insistent, more like suggestions than facts. And that softness is a gift. A quiet offering from the night to you, and you can accept it without doing anything at all. The work in Stockholm continued in this way for many evenings. Press the button. Listen. Make a note. Adjust. Try again. The loop was gentle and circular, and each time through the loop, the software became a little more like what they had imagined, a little more seamless, a little more like water flowing through a pipe with no joints, no seams, just one continuous, unbroken stream. And the improvements were small, always small. The kind of progress that is measured not in leaps, but in the barely perceptible smoothing of a surface. The way a stone in a riverbed becomes smoother, not all at once, but over many seasons of water passing over it. Patient, unhurried, steady. Your body is heavy now. Your chest and your belly and your hips and your lower back, all of them resting, all of them held, all of them warm. The shoosh of the rain is still here, and the tick of the radiator is still here, and the amber glow is still here, and the room has not changed, and you have not changed, except that you are a little more still, a little more settled, a little closer to the place where thoughts become soft and formless, and the mind begins to let go of its need to follow any particular thread. In the same familiar room, the next part arrives softly, like a thought settling into place. A slow, steady spreading. The rain continues its gentle, steady arrival at the window, and the faint tick of the radiator marks another small interval in the quiet life of this room. You are still here. The low amber glow of the lamp has not wavered, and the water glass, the closed laptop, the folded headphones remain exactly where they have been all evening, arranged on the desk in their familiar way, like three soft notes in a chord that has been held for a very long time without needing to resolve. Your body knows this chair now. Your hips have found their place in the seat, and your lower back rests against the pillow without any need for adjustment, and your spine has settled into its long, natural curve, each vertebra resting on the one below it like stones stacked by a patient hand. You can bring your attention to your belly, to the quiet rise and fall of it, and notice that the motion has become slower, shallower, as though the breath is learning to take up less space, to move through you more gently, like a tide that has been going out for hours and is now barely lapping at the shore. This is your body making room for rest. This is the body doing what it knows how to do when the mind finally stops asking it to be anything other than still. You might imagine, in this quiet moment, reaching over to the desk and resting your fingertips on the surface of the closed laptop. The metal is cool, faintly smooth, and you could trace a small circle on its lid with the tip of one finger. A slow, absent motion, the kind of thing a person does when their thoughts are somewhere far away and their hands are simply keeping themselves company. And from this small, idle gesture, the story drifts back to Stockholm, to the years after the early testing, when the software had begun to work well enough that more people could use it. The growth was gradual. It happened the way mornings happen in winter, not all at once, but in slow, almost imperceptible degrees. A little more light each day. So slight that you would not notice it unless you were paying very close attention. First, it was a small number of people in Sweden who could open the application on their computers and listen to music streaming through their internet connections. Then it was people in a few more places, other countries nearby, places with their own long winters and quiet evenings, and rooms not so different from this one. The expansion was not dramatic. It was more like the way a puddle of water spreads slowly across a flat surface, finding its way by the gentlest possible path, filling the low places first, taking its time. The shush of the rain is here, and you can let it hold you. You can let the sound become a kind of cradle, a wide, soft surface that supports you from all sides, and you can feel your chest soften into it, the muscles between your ribs releasing whatever small tension they were still holding. And the breath becomes even more effortless, even more like something that is happening to you rather than something you are doing. The cool air from the window crack touches your forearm, and the warmth of the room takes it back. And this small exchange continues without pause. A conversation between two temperatures that never reaches a conclusion and never needs to. Somewhere, in rooms with humming machines, servers were running. A server is just a computer but it is a computer that stays awake all the time, quietly holding files and sending them out when someone asks for them, the way a librarian holds books on shelves and hands them to anyone who comes to the desk. These servers hummed. It was a low, steady sound, the kind of sound that disappears into the background, the way the sound of your own breathing disappears. Always there, always faithful, never calling attention to itself. And the servers held music, many songs, so many songs that the number does not matter. And they sent that music out through the internet to anyone who pressed the button and asked to listen. Your hips are heavy in the chair. You can feel the weight of them, the broad, grounded mass of bone and muscle. And there is a deep restfulness in that weight, as if your body is slowly becoming part of the furniture, merging with the seat, becoming as still and as steady as the desk or the lamp or the walls of this room. Your lower back is warm where the pillow presses against it, and that warmth spreads outward in slow waves, reaching your sides, your belly, the base of your ribs, and you can let it spread without directing it, the way you let warmth from a cup of tea spread through your hands without thinking about it. There was paperwork. Of course there was paperwork. When a company wants to share music that belongs to other people, to artists and songwriters and the organizations that represent them, there are agreements to be made, pages to be read and signed and filed away. And in the early days of this quiet company, someone sat at a desk, perhaps not so different from your desk, and read through these pages, one at a time, carefully, the way a person reads a long, familiar letter, not rushing, not skipping ahead, just moving from one paragraph to the next with steady, patient attention. The pages were about permissions. They were about who had the right to share which songs, and under what conditions, and how the people who made the music would be recognized for their work. It was calm, methodical reading, the kind that requires no passion, only steadiness, only the willingness to sit and be present with words on a page until the page is done and the next one can begin. And when the reading was finished, the pages would be placed in a folder, and the folder would be placed in a drawer, and the drawer would close with a soft, satisfying sound, and the desk would be clear again, and the person would lean back in their chair and take a breath, and the breath would be slow and easy, and the evening outside the window would still be dark, and the work would be done for the day. and the quietness of the accomplishment would be its own reward. A small, internal settling, the feeling of a task completed without fanfare, without applause, just the calm knowledge that the papers were in order, and the permissions were secured, and the music could continue to stream silently through the night. The radiator ticks, and you can let your spine settle even deeper into the pillow. And you can feel the small spaces between your vertebrae opening just slightly, the way spaces open between words when a sentence is spoken very slowly. There is room in your body now, room in your chest, room in your belly, room in the quiet hollow of your lower back, where the pillow holds its gentle pressure. And the amber light from the lamp falls on the desk, and on your hands, and on the folded headphones, and on the rim of the water glass. And all of these things are bathed in the same soft gold, as though the light is a kind of blanket that covers everything equally, without preference, without judgment. The company offered 2 ways to listen. One was free. A person could open the application and hear music without paying anything. And from time to time there would be a brief pause, a small interruption, and then the music would continue. The other way was to pay a small amount, a monthly sum, modest and regular, like a subscription to a quiet magazine, and in return, the music would play without interruption, continuously, smoothly, the way a river flows through a landscape that has no dams or locks, just open water finding its way forward. Both ways were gentle. Both ways were simple. And the choice between them was the kind of choice that does not keep a person awake at night. A choice more like deciding whether to leave the window open a crack or closed. All the way, a matter of small preference, nothing more. After a while, the listening moved from computers to phones. People could carry the music with them, in their pockets, on their walks to work, on the bus, in the quiet minutes before falling asleep. The application looked almost the same on the smaller screen. Just a list and a button and a gentle green glow. And the music arrived the same way, streaming through the air. And the person listening did not need to know anything about how it worked, or where the songs were stored, or what happened between the pressing of the button and the first note sounding in their ear. They simply pressed, and the music came, and the evening continued. and the world went on being quiet and ordinary and fine. And the people who made this possible continued their own quiet routines. In the mornings, someone would open a laptop and check that the servers had run smoothly through the night. In the afternoons, someone would review a list of songs that had been added to the catalog. A long, gentle list, each entry a title and an artist's name and a duration. And they would scroll through it the way you might scroll through a list of errands that have already been completed, not looking for anything, just confirming that the work had been done and that the list was a little longer than it had been the day before. And in the evenings, someone would close their laptop and set it on a desk and go to the kitchen to make a cup of tea. And the evening would be quiet, and the work would wait until tomorrow, patient and unhurried, the way all gentle things are patient and unhurried when they know they have all the time they need. You can feel your body now as a single quiet weight, not a collection of parts, not chest and belly and hips and spine, but one continuous shape held by the chair, warmed by the lamp, accompanied by the rain. If you were to imagine your body as a landscape, it would be a broad, flat plain at dusk. The light fading, the air still, the grass bending gently under its own weight. And somewhere far away, so far that it barely registers the faint hum of those servers, steady and unremarkable, doing their patient work of sending music to anyone who asked. Your fingers are soft in your lap. The headphones on the desk are folded. The laptop is closed and cool. And the evening has crossed over into a new day, without announcement, without ceremony, the way midnight arrives in a quiet room, not as a boundary, but as a continuation, a seamless extension of the same gentle darkness that has been here all along. The rain has not changed. The lamp has not changed. The radiator continues its faint tick, and you continue your slow, easy breathing, and the story is here, unhurried, asking nothing of you, offering nothing except the comfort of one ordinary detail following another, like songs in a playlist that someone arranged long ago and then forgot about, each one leading to the next with no particular purpose, no destination, just the simple pleasure of sequence of one thing gently becoming another. The water glass holds its quiet light. The blankets at the foot of the bed hold their patient warmth. The room holds you. With the water glass, the closed laptop, and the folded pair of headphones still where they belong. The story naturally eases toward the next quiet moment. Gentle maintenance, The lamp holds its low amber glow over the desk, and the rain at the window has thinned to something barely there. A soft, patient tapping, lighter than before, as though the sky has almost finished what it came to say, but is not quite ready to stop. The water glass, the closed laptop, the folded headphones are still arranged in their small constellation on the desk, and you are still here, your body deep in the chair, and the room is so familiar now that it feels less like a place you are in and more like a place you are part of. The way a stone becomes part of the riverbed it rests in, held there by quiet, continuous forces that require no attention and no effort. Your upper body has been soft for some time now. Your chest, your belly, your lower back, your hips, all of them settled, all of them warm, all of them held by the chair and the pillow and the gentle weight of gravity doing its patient work. And now your attention can drift downward, past your hips, into your thighs. Your thighs are resting on the seat of the chair, and they are heavy. They are perhaps the heaviest part of you right now, broad and warm and pressed into the cushion with a gentle, undemanding pressure. And you can notice that heaviness without needing to change it. It is a good heaviness. It is the heaviness of legs that have carried you through a whole day and are now finally allowed to stop carrying. Allowed to simply be weight, simple and dense and still, like two logs of driftwood resting on a calm shore. In the story of the quiet company in Sweden, there were small tasks that repeated themselves the way seasons repeat, without drama, without surprise. Someone would check a log file. A log file is a record that a computer keeps of everything it has done, every song it has sent, every connection it has made, every small pause or stutter or moment of hesitation, all of it written down in plain, monotonous lines of text, one after another, like the entries in a very dull diary kept by someone who never goes anywhere or does anything remarkable. And a person on the team would open this log file early in the morning or late at night and read through it, line by line, the way a person might read through a tide chart or a weather log, not looking for anything in particular, just confirming that the numbers were within the expected range, that the system had done what it was supposed to do. that everything was steady and ordinary and fine. The tick of the radiator comes again, and the cool air from the window crack moves past your ankles. Now, a light, passing touch, and the warmth of the blankets pulled at the foot of the bed is close, so close, and you can feel the contrast between the two. The cool and the warm meeting somewhere around your calves, mingling there the way two colors mingle at the edge of a watercolor wash. Neither one winning, neither one losing, just a gentle blending that has no boundary and no resolution. Your knees are soft. You may not have thought about your knees in hours, perhaps in days, but they are there, slightly bent, resting at the angle the chair gives them, and the joints inside them are quiet. The cartilage and the fluid and the small, intricate structures all doing nothing, all waiting, all resting in the particular stillness of joints that are not being asked to move. Sometimes a server would need to be restarted. This is a simple thing, like turning off a lamp and turning it on again. The machine would be asked to stop, and it would stop, and for a few moments it would be quiet and dark. Just a box of metal and wire and silicon holding its breath. And then it would be asked to start again, and it would start slowly, the way a person wakes from a deep sleep, gradually gathering its awareness, checking its own systems, confirming that everything is in order, and then resuming its quiet work of holding music and sending it out to anyone who asked. The person watching this process would wait. They would sit at their own desk, in their own room, and watch a screen that showed the progress of the restart. A simple indicator, a bar that filled slowly from left to right, or a series of small messages appearing one after another, each one confirming that another part of the system had come back to life. And when it was done, the person would make a note, brief and calm, and move on to the next small task. And there was a kind of rhythm to these tasks, a gentle, repeating pattern, like the rhythm of seasons or the rhythm of tides, each day bringing the same small set of things to do, the same small set of checks and adjustments and confirmations, and the sameness was not boring. It was soothing. The way the sameness of the rain is soothing, the way the sameness of your own breathing is soothing. A repetition that tells the body and the mind that the world is steady, that nothing unexpected is coming, that everything is as it should be, and will continue to be as it should be for as long as the night lasts. Your calves can soften now. There are muscles in the calves that hold tension in a particular way. a way that is related to standing and walking and balancing, all the work of keeping you upright through the hours of the day. And these muscles can release now, slowly, like ropes being let out inch by inch. And the calves can become heavy and warm and part of the general downward drift of your body toward rest. The shush of the rain is thinner now, more like a murmur than a shush, a soft, continuous whisper that the sky is offering to the window, and the window is accepting without comment, and the sound of it reaches you through the glass and through the air and through the quiet of the room, and it settles around you the way mist settles around a field, gently, without edges, without weight. Someone would reprint a page. A document had come from the printer with a small smudge in one corner, a faint gray mark where the ink had not been distributed evenly. And the person looking at it would notice the smudge and set the page aside and print it again. The new page would come out clean, and the person would look at it, confirm that it was right, and place it in a folder with other pages. And the folder would go into a drawer, and the drawer would close with a soft click, and that would be the end of it. A small task completed. A corner of the world made slightly neater, slightly more orderly, in a way that no one else would ever notice or care about. And yet there was a kind of value in it, a kind of quiet dignity, the dignity of doing a simple thing well and then moving on without needing to be seen or acknowledged. Your ankles are resting. Your feet are resting. You can feel them now, the soles of your feet, the arches, the toes, and they are warm inside your socks or bare against the cool air. And either way, they are still, deeply still, and the stillness travels upward through your ankles and your calves and your knees and your thighs, all the way up to your hips, where it meets the stillness that is already settled there. And the two stillnesses merge into one, and your legs become a single quiet weight, resting on the chair, resting on the floor, resting on the earth beneath the floor, connected to everything and needing nothing. The story of the company has grown softer now, more distant, like a landscape seen through a window on a train that is moving very slowly. The details are less sharp. The edges are less defined. Someone adjusted a setting. Someone tested a button. Someone waited for a page to load and then tested the button again. And the page loaded a little faster the second time. Or perhaps it did not. And either way, the person made a note and moved on. These are the rhythms of quiet, patient work. Work that is more like maintenance than creation, more like tending than building, and the rhythms blend together after a while, becoming indistinguishable from the rhythms of the room you are in. The tick of the radiator, the murmur of the rain, the slow rise and fall of your own breathing, all of it part of the same gentle, ongoing hum. There were careful notes. Someone kept a small notebook, or perhaps a simple text file, and in it they wrote down the things that had been done each day and the things that still needed doing. And the list was never exciting and never alarming, just a steady, repeating sequence of small maintenance tasks. The kind of list a person might keep for a garden or a house. Check the filters. Tidy the files. Clear the old logs. Update the small things that need updating. And the person would read through the list in the morning and do one thing and then another and cross each one off or mark it done. The satisfaction of this was small and quiet and exactly sufficient. Like the satisfaction of folding the last towel in a stack or placing the last book on a shelf. And sometimes the task was simply waiting. Waiting for a process to finish. Waiting for a file to transfer. Waiting for a screen to update. The waiting was not anxious. It was the waiting of someone who has placed a kettle on the stove and knows that the water will boil when it is ready, and that there is nothing to be done in the meantime except to sit and be still and let the minutes pass at their own unhurried pace. The person would sit at their desk and look at the screen, and the screen would show a progress indicator, a thin bar moving slowly from left to right, and the bar would fill in small, patient increments, each one a tiny fraction of the whole, and the person would watch it the way you might watch a cloud move across a sky. Not because it is interesting, but because the watching itself is a kind of rest. A way of letting the mind go still while the eyes have something gentle to follow. The blankets at the foot of the bed are waiting. The warmth they hold is patient, and you can feel it from here. A faint thermal presence, like the memory of a warm hand resting on your knee. The amber glow of the lamp touches the edge of the blankets, giving them a soft, golden border and your toes, wherever they are, can soften now, each one releasing its own tiny portion of the day's effort, curling slightly or uncurling, finding whatever position feels most natural, most at ease, most like the position they would choose if you were already asleep and they were free to arrange themselves without instruction. The room is still. The desk is still. The headphones are folded. The laptop is closed. And the story is becoming quieter, more like a thought than a narrative, more like the faint hum of a server in a distant room than the sound of anyone speaking. And you can let it be quiet. You can let it recede to the very edge of your attention, where it rests without effort, asking nothing, offering only the gentlest companionship. And with cool air from the window crack and warm blankets pooled at the foot of the bed in the air, the next theme approaches in the easiest, unhurried way. Everyday listening. The murmur of the rain against the window is barely there now, more a mist than a rain, a soft, continuous presence that you feel more than hear, and the low amber glow of the lamp has not changed, has not flickered, has held its small circle of warmth on the desk all through these quiet hours, as though it has nowhere else to be and nothing else to do. The water glass, the closed laptop, the folded headphones, they are still here. You are still here. And the room has the quality of a place that has been still for so long that the stillness has become a kind of substance, something you can almost touch, something that fills the space the way warmth fills a blanket, or silence fills a held breath. Your legs are heavy. You noticed this before, but the heaviness has deepened now, has become more thorough, as though your thighs and your knees and your calves have been slowly absorbing the weight of the evening, taking it in the way soil takes in rain, gradually, without resistance, until they are saturated with stillness and can hold no more. Your feet are warm, or cool, or somewhere in between, and either way they are at rest. The arches softened, the toes quiet, each one a small, separate weight resting against the next, and you do not need to move them. You do not need to move anything. The body has arrived at the place it was heading all along. The place where movement becomes optional, where stillness is not something you have to work at, but something you have become somewhere, far from this room, in a time that feels less like history And more like a half-remembered thought, people began to make playlists. Not the people who built the software, but the people who used it. Ordinary people in ordinary rooms, sitting at desks or on couches or in bed, with laptops balanced on their knees, scrolling through long lists of songs and choosing, slowly, one at a time, which ones to keep together. The choosing was gentle. It was the kind of decision-making that requires almost no effort, more instinct than thought, more feeling than logic. This song feels right after that one. This one belongs here. This one can wait. And the playlists grew song by song, the way a path through a garden grows as someone walks it again and again, not by design, but by repetition, by the quiet accumulation of small choices made without urgency. The radiator ticks. The sound is so familiar now that it has become part of the room's own breathing. A small metallic pulse, steady and regular, and you can feel it in your body the way you feel your own heartbeat when you are very still, not as a sound, but as a rhythm, a faint interior tapping that confirms you are here, that the room is here, that the night is continuing its slow, patient work of carrying you from one moment to the next. The cool air from the window crack touches your ankle, and the warmth from the blankets at the foot of the bed answers it, and your skin receives both without preference, without judgment, the way a calm lake receives the light and the shadow with the same untroubled surface. A person might make a playlist for the evening. They might call it something simple, night, or quiet, or simply the name of the month, January, February. A word that holds no promise and no expectation, just a marker, a way of saying this is when I listen to these songs, this is the shape my evenings took during this particular stretch of ordinary days. And they would save the name, and the playlist would appear in their list of playlists, a small line of text among other small lines of text. And they might never listen to it in exactly that order again. Or they might listen to it many times. And either way, the act of making it was its own quiet reward. A small arrangement of the world, a tiny ordering of sound and sequence that brought a brief, mild satisfaction, like straightening a row of books on a shelf or folding a towel into thirds. You can let your knees be heavy now. Let them rest at whatever angle they have found, slightly bent, held by the chair, and feel the weight of them, the particular dense weight of the kneecap and the joint beneath it. All that intricate architecture at rest, all those ligaments and tendons, slack and easy. The way ropes go slack on a boat that has been tied to its mooring and left to float in still water. Your calves are warm. The muscles there have released whatever they were holding, and the warmth has settled into them. The way warmth settles into bread that has been sitting near a fire, slowly, thoroughly, from the outside in, until the whole shape of them is soft and heavy and still. People listened in quiet ways. A person on a bus, early in the morning, with headphones on and eyes half closed, watching the city pass through a window streaked with condensation, listening to a song that someone else had placed in a playlist called Morning Commute, or simply songs. The music came through the headphones in a continuous, unbroken stream, and the person did not think about how it arrived, did not think about servers or code, or the small team in Stockholm who had spent so many evenings making the playback a little smoother, a little more seamless. They simply listened, the way a person listens to rain, without analysis, without gratitude, without any thought at all, except the thought that the music was there and it was enough. And there were people who listened late at night in rooms much like this one, with the lights low and the blankets close, and the world outside reduced to the sound of wind or rain or nothing at all. They would put on a playlist or let the software choose for them, and the music would fill the room at a volume so low it was almost subliminal. More vibration than sound, more texture than melody, and the songs would blend together the way colors blend at the horizon when the sun has gone and the sky is moving from blue to gray to the deep, featureless dark of a winter night. And the person listening would not remember which songs played, would not remember the order or the names, would remember only the feeling, the warmth, the heaviness, the slow, irresistible drift toward sleep. The making of a playlist could take a whole evening, or it could take 5 minutes. There was no rule. A person might sit at their desk the way you are sitting at yours and scroll through a long catalog of songs, and each time they found one that felt right, they would add it to the list. And the list would grow, and the act of growing the list would feel like a kind of quiet nesting, a building of a small, private shelter made of sound, a place to retreat to later, when the night was dark and the body was tired and the only thing needed was a gentle sequence of songs that someone at some point had chosen with care. And the playlist, once made, would sit in the software like a folded blanket on a shelf, waiting, patient, ready whenever it was needed, holding its small collection of songs, the way this room holds its small collection of familiar objects, gently, without urgency, without any need to be noticed or praised. The murmur of the rain at your window, the tick of the radiator, the amber glow holding the desk in its warm, still light. Your body is so heavy now, so thoroughly settled, that the boundary between you and the chair has become unclear, as though you are not sitting in the chair so much as resting with it. Two quiet shapes sharing the same space, the same warmth, the same slow passage of time. Your toes can soften again, each one releasing a last tiny thread of tension, and you can feel the soles of your feet, the broad, patient surfaces of them, resting against the floor or against the air. And they are warm, and they are still, and they are yours, and they need nothing from you. The software, over time, began to offer gentle suggestions, not commands, not demands, but small, quiet offerings, the way a friend might mention a song they heard recently without insisting that you listen to it. The suggestions appeared on the screen as a short list, a few song titles, and the person looking at them could choose to listen or not. And either choice was fine, and the software did not mind, did not adjust its tone, did not try harder. It simply offered, and then waited, and then offered again another day. And the rhythm of this offering was patient and circular, like the rhythm of tides or seasons, or the slow rotation of playlists that people made and remade and forgot about and returned to over and over in the quiet, ordinary course of their lives. Sometimes the software would make a mix for you, a personalized collection, assembled by some quiet process in the background, a process that noticed which songs you return to most often and which ones you let pass by. And from these gentle observations, it would build a short list. A handful of songs that it thought you might enjoy. And the list would appear on the screen, one morning or one evening, offered without explanation, without argument, the way a cat places a small object at your feet and then walks away, having done its part, indifferent to whether you pick it up or not. And sometimes the mix would be exactly right, and you would listen to it all the way through, and the songs would feel like they belonged together, like someone who knew you quietly had arranged them in the order your evening needed. And you would not think about how it happened, because the thinking was not the point. The listening was the point. The stillness was the point. Your thighs are heavy on the seat. Your ankles are still. The blankets at the foot of the bed hold their warmth, and you are close to them now. Close to the moment when you might draw them up over your legs and let their weight settle over you like a second, softer layer of gravity. But there is no hurry. There is never any hurry in this room. The lamp will keep its glow. The rain will keep its murmur. The desk will keep its small arrangement of familiar things. And the story will keep its gentle, fading thread, growing softer and less distinct with each passing moment, like a song that is slowly turning down its own volume, not ending but receding, not stopping but becoming so quiet that it blends with the silence and becomes indistinguishable from rest. Someone, somewhere, pressed play on a playlist called Sleep. The songs were soft and slow, and they played one after another in the order someone had chosen on some quiet evening, much like this one. And the music filled a dark room, and the person listening did not hear when one song ended and the next began, because they were already drifting, already letting go, already moving toward the place where sound and silence meet and become the same thing. And the software kept playing faithfully, steadily, sending the music through the connection in its unbroken stream, asking nothing, expecting nothing, simply doing its quiet, patient work in the dark. The water glass on your desk catches the last of the amber light. The headphones are folded. The laptop is closed. Your body is a single, quiet weight, resting in the chair, resting in the room, resting in the night, The thin rain keeps its rhythm outside, and the story moves gently forward, asking nothing of you. Deep sleep outro. The murmur of the rain against the window is so soft now that it is almost not there at all. Just the thinnest veil of moisture touching the glass. And the low amber glow of the lamp has settled into something even gentler than before. As though the light itself has grown drowsy and is resting on the desk the way you are resting in the chair. Without effort, without intention, simply being warm in a quiet room at the very bottom of the night. You are still here. The water glass, the closed laptop, the folded headphones are still here. And everything is exactly as it has been, unchanged and unhurried. And the night is deep and soft and wide. Your face is soft. You can notice this without checking, without moving anything, because the softness has been there for a while now. In your jaw, which is loose and open. In your temples, which are smooth. In the small muscles around your eyes, which have let go of whatever they were holding and are now simply resting behind your lids, heavy and warm and still. Your forehead is wide and calm, like a field after the last light has left it, and the skin there is smooth, and you can feel the air touching it, faintly cool, faintly damp from the mist that is barely reaching the window anymore. And the touch is so light that it is more a suggestion than a sensation, more a memory of coolness than coolness itself. There was a story, you may remember it. It was about a quiet thing that happened slowly, in a country where the winters are long, in rooms with desks and lamps and the hum of computers working through the night. It was about music, in a way, about the idea that songs could travel through the air the way water travels through a pipe, arriving without effort, playing without being held, and then moving on. But the story was never really about that. The story was about this room, and this lamp, and this rain, and the feeling of your body growing heavy in a chair while the night does its slow, patient work of carrying the world from one day to the next. Your shoulders are low. They have been low for a long time now, resting at the bottom of whatever arc they traced during the day. All the lifting and carrying and holding finally released, and they are warm, and they are heavy. and they slope gently downward from your neck, like two hills descending into a quiet valley. Your hands are in your lap or at your sides, and they are the hands of someone who is not going to reach for anything, not going to type or tap or scroll or hold. Hands that have become purely ornamental, purely weight, curled softly inward, the way leaves curl when the air cools. A natural, effortless closing that asks nothing and means nothing except that the day is done. The radiator ticks, but slower now. The intervals between its small metallic sounds growing longer, as though it too is settling into a deeper rhythm, a rhythm that matches the slowing of your breath, the slowing of your thoughts, the gradual, unhurried descent of the whole room towards something that is not quite silence, but is the closest thing to it. A hush so deep that even the sound of your own breathing becomes part of it, woven into the quiet the way a thread is woven into a cloth, invisible, indistinguishable, part of the whole. The company in Sweden, the playlists, the small team working through long winter evenings, testing a button, checking a log, naming a file. These things are very far away now. They are like objects seen at the end of a long hallway, recognizable in shape, but soft in detail, their edges blurred, their colors faded, and you do not need to walk toward them or bring them closer. They can stay where they are, at the far edge of your attention, harmless and distant, like the sound of a conversation in another room, the words indistinguishable, the tone gentle, the meaning not important. There was a time when the music did not flow this way, when it had to be carried, file by file, like water in a bucket. And then someone had a quiet thought in a room with a lamp and a desk. And the thought was that the music could simply stream, and the streaming would be continuous, and the listener would not need to carry anything at all. And that thought, so small, so simple, led to evenings like this one. Evenings when a person could press a single button and the music would come and the room would fill with sound so soft it was almost silence, and the body would grow heavy, and the eyes would close, and the rest would come. But you do not need to think about any of this. The thought has already done its work. The thought is resting now the way you are resting, dissolving into the general quiet of the night. The lamp casts its amber glow on the desk, and the glow is softer now, or your eyes are softer, or the room itself has grown softer, And it does not matter which one is true because the effect is the same. A gentle dimming, a slow fading of the edges, a feeling that the room is made not of walls and furniture and air, but of warmth and weight and the long, continuous sound of a night that has been quiet for so long it has forgotten what noise is. Your chest rises slowly. The breath comes in through your nose, cool and clean, and it fills your lungs just enough, not deeply, not dramatically, just enough, and then it goes out again, and the chest falls, and the belly softens, and there is a pause, a quiet interval where nothing is happening inside you, where the body is simply resting between one breath and the next. And that pause is longer now than it was before, a little wider, a little more spacious, like a room that has been gently expanded to make room for stillness. The blankets are close. You can feel their warmth near your legs, near your feet, and perhaps you have drawn them up already, or perhaps you are about to, and either way, their presence is a comfort, a soft, familiar weight that the body knows and welcomes the way it knows, and welcomes the feeling of warm water or the pressure of a kind hand. The blankets hold heat the way the lamp holds light, patiently, without effort, without needing to be asked. And if you let them settle over you, they become a second skin, a layer of warmth that smooths the boundary between your body and the air, and makes the two feel less like separate things and more like different versions of the same quiet, steady temperature. You can feel the whole weight of yourself now. From the top of your head, where the air rests lightly against your hair, to the tips of your toes, where the last small threads of the day's tension have finally dissolved. You are one continuous, unbroken weight, held by the chair, held by the blankets, held by the room, held by the night, and the holding is effortless. It requires nothing from you. It is the holding that gravity does. The holding that warmth does. The holding that quiet does when it has been quiet long enough to become a kind of embrace. Your belly is soft. It rises and falls in its own time, and the motion is so gentle now that it is barely motion at all. More like the idea of motion, more like the memory of a wave on a shore that has been calm for hours. Your lower back is warm where it presses against the pillow, and the warmth has spread through the whole of your torso. A slow, even heat that has no source and no direction, that simply exists the way the amber glow of the lamp exists, quietly, without explanation, filling the space it occupies without trying to fill more. The mist touches the window. The lamp glows. The radiator ticks its slow, patient tick. And the story of the quiet company is like a song that has been playing for a very long time at a very low volume. So low that you cannot tell anymore whether it is still playing or whether the silence has taken its place. And it does not matter, because the two are so similar now. The song and the silence, the story and the stillness, that there is no difference between them, no boundary, no moment where one ends and the other begins. Your hips are heavy in the chair. They are the heaviest part of you, the center of your body's weight, the place where gravity has gathered its most patient attention, and they press into the seat with a steady, grounded pressure that feels like the earth itself is holding you gently from below, the way the earth holds everything, without effort, without complaint, simply by being there, simply by being solid and still and endlessly patient. Your spine rests against the pillow. Each vertebra is quiet. Each small space between the bones is open and easy. And the whole long line of your spine is soft, draped over the pillow, the way a scarf is draped over the back of a chair, without tension, without form, simply following the shape of whatever is beneath it. There were servers humming in quiet rooms. There were songs traveling through invisible connections. There were playlists with gentle names, and people listening in the dark, and the slow, steady work of making something a little smoother, a little quieter, a little more like the feeling of water flowing, without interruption through a long, calm pipe. But these things are so far away now. They are like stars seen through a thin layer of cloud, present but unreachable, real but indistinct. And you do not need to reach for them. You can let them be where they are, distant and harmless and soft, part of the same quiet night that holds your room and your lamp and your rain and your breath. Your thighs are heavy. Your knees are soft. Your calves have released whatever they were holding, and the muscles there are warm and slack and still. Your ankles rest at whatever angle they have found, and they are comfortable, and your feet are warm, the soles of them broad and quiet against the floor, or the footrest, or the empty air. And your toes have curled or uncurled into whatever shape feels most natural, most at ease. and each toe is a small, separate weight resting against the next, and together they form the very end of you, the farthest point from your mind, the place where the body trails off into stillness, the way a sentence trails off when the person speaking has begun to fall asleep. The rain is almost gone. There may be one more tap against the window, or there may not. The mist is so thin now that it barely qualifies as weather. More like a thought of rain than rain itself. A soft, dissolving memory that the sky is quietly letting go of. And the lamp holds its amber glow, steady and dim, and the room is so still that the stillness has become a kind of sound, a deep, low hum beneath everything, beneath the tick of the radiator, and the murmur of the air, and the slow rhythm of your breath, a hum that has always been there, but that you can only hear now, at this hour, in this silence, in this room, because you have become still enough to hear it. Your whole body is a single weight now, not parts, not limbs and joints and muscles, but one continuous, gentle heaviness, resting in the chair, held by the blankets, warmed by the lamp, accompanied by the rain. You are here, and the room is here, and the night is here, and the quiet company in Sweden is a distant, harmless shape at the very edge of a thought you are no longer having, a shape that is dissolving the way clouds dissolve on a warm afternoon, slowly, naturally, without resistance, becoming sky. The water glass holds its still, clear weight on the desk. The closed laptop holds its cool, dark surface. The folded headphones hold their patient, cushioned silence. These objects are keeping watch for you. They will be here in the morning, unchanged, untroubled, waiting in the same amber light or in the new gray light of dawn. And you do not need to tend to them, and you do not need to think about them, and you do not need to think about anything at all. The breath comes in, the breath goes out. The pause between them grows a little longer. The lamp glows. The mist touches the window one more time, or perhaps it has already stopped, and you did not notice when it stopped, because you were already somewhere else, somewhere quieter, somewhere deeper, a place with no desk, and no laptop, and no story. Just warmth and weight and the slow fading hum of a night that has done its work and is resting now. The way you are resting, the way everything rests, when it has been still long enough to remember that stillness is where it came from and where it returns. The room is a warm, dark shape around you. The desk is a shadow. The lamp is a distant, amber ember, holding its glow for no one now, holding it the way a candle holds its flame in an empty room. Not because anyone is watching, but because that is what it does. Quietly, patiently, for as long as the night lasts. And the objects on the desk, the glass, the laptop, the headphones have become soft, formless shapes, barely distinguishable from the darkness around them, returning to the simplest version of themselves. Just wait, just presence, just the quiet fact of being here. In this room, on this night, the way you are here, the way your body is here, warm and heavy and perfectly, completely still. Your eyes are closed. Your jaw is soft. Your hands are warm. Your chest rises and falls, rises and falls, and each rise is a little less than the one before, and each fall is a little more complete, and the breath is carrying you now, carrying you the way a current carries a leaf on a quiet river. Slowly, without direction, without destination, just the gentle, continuous motion of something that has stopped trying to go anywhere and has agreed, finally, to simply float. The lamp glows. The room holds you. The night holds the room. And everything is quiet. And everything is still. And everything is exactly where it belongs. And you are here. And you are resting. And the rest is deep. And the rest is good. And there is nothing else. And there does not need to be anything else. And the quiet goes on. And on. And on. Into the deep, still center of the night, where there is nothing but rest, And rest is everything. And everything is peace. Good night.